Hello, gamers, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Eorzea. As always, I have the wonderful, talented, and beautiful Pyra with me. Hello.
Hello, friend. Hello, Debbie. I don't know why I have an accent all of a sudden. Hello.
Hello. It's all that trying to read words in the MSQ that has broken my ability to speak a particular language.
At least we didn't have a lot of Thancred screen time, because that always gets my brain fried.
There we go. This week, we are giving our vague thoughts on the overall MSQ because I have finally completed it. So there will be no specific spoilers, but we will be talking about the Dawntrail MSQ as a whole. So if you kind of aren't wanting to watch this right now, you can watch us another time. The VOD will always be there. In the meantime, yeah, we can give our thoughts. It's kind of news.
Yeah, definitely news.
I completed it most recently, so just a couple of days ago. And
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this moment.
I cried for 5 hours straight. Like 5 hours straight. And I really found some things out about myself and my community during the process. No, it was absolutely beautiful. I really resonated with the story, as I imagine anyone who has experienced loss personally has. And it was a very emotional, very powerful story that was well peppered with humor and slapstick. And I overall really enjoyed it. Possibly my number one, if not my number two favorite expansion. So if you want to see me cry for 5 hours, that video's out there too somewhere. But no, really enjoyed it. Really impactful. The only thing I would possibly change is Yoshi P has got to stop doing those follow quests. I am done with those follow quests. The first one was kind of like, hey, that's nifty, back in Endwalker. Hey, that's kind of nifty. But now it's just like, no, let's stop doing this. These are not fun. So what was your thoughts overall on the story?
So before I give you my thoughts on the story, I have a specific moment of the follow quest where I was in party with my husband and I fell behind because I was doing something with the stream, and I was like, ooh, I'll just ethereal manipulate to him. I'll be fine. The boss turns around at the same time and it's like, oh no, sorry. And I'm like, no. But besides that, I love Dawntrail. I think it's not getting as much credit as it deserves, quite honestly. But without getting into too much detail, also tears for the whole loss section. The first half was very much what I kind of anticipated beforehand, and that's where I've let my expectations on the pace of the first half. It didn't feel too slow for me because I expected that we were going to have to lay a lot of groundwork, and we were learning more about someone else than ourselves. We were the backseat. We weren't the protagonists. We weren't even the second main character. We were kind of like facilitating their journey, Wuklamat's journey. And so it was really cool the first half, and I really enjoyed it, and I set my expectations properly. When we kind of got to that tipping point, I was not expecting it to be as impactful, as kind of serious. I was not expecting this was supposed to be my summer vacation. I was not expecting a serious theme where I was gonna cry, and there are plenty of times where I recorded my reaction and I'm like, damn you, Yoshi P, I didn't want to cry. This is supposed to be my summer vacation. But it was, of course, all in good jest. Like, I absolutely loved it. It was really nice going through and feeling something and having it be within one expansion that I felt like a trigger, like an emotional trigger. So like that I think was pretty impressive story writing too, that I didn't need X years and X character building to kind of like have certain ties, but yeah, I really,
Yeah.
really love it.
No, and I mean, you make a good point. Like, we kind of expected the expansion to feel a lot like A Realm Reborn, but they still included all of the same feels that were in Shadowbringers and Endwalkers. So you got the same visceral emotional reaction at the end when we really weren't expecting it. It was just going to be a beginning of a new arc. Here's all these people, yeah, allowing you to start falling in love with them slowly and getting to know who they are. But it all happened real fast.
Really fast.
And
yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm very happy that they kind of are proving, like, I don't think they had anything to prove, the writing team, but they are proving that they can still make you feel suspense. They can still make you think that one thing's gonna happen and then kind of shift it a bit. So it does make me feel hopeful for like the future story arcs that we're gonna get in this game.
And the other thing they kind of kept consistent between Endwalker and Shadowbringers and Dawntrail is the really shocking scenes and moments in the expansion where you kind of can't believe that they're showing it. Like, you kind of get used to North American media and television being gory or being suspenseful or being just outright, violent. But they can capture these moments that are just obscene or terrifying, and it's something you're like, oh my god, can they show this in a video game? Can they do this in a video game? But it goes above and beyond. Like, we're talking about those moments in other expansions where maybe someone offs themselves, or maybe some kids get stepped on or thrown into a pit. Like, there are those moments in this expansion too where you're like, I can't believe we are seeing this.
I love that too, where even though, like, of course it's like, I don't want to see something happen to a child, or for someone that I really am starting to care about, but it's like it's impactful storytelling. And I think a lot of it too is like, I don't want to say real, because like after following up that sounds bad, but they touched on like real feelings and real topics. Like, that was one thing that I loved about Wooklamot's character, was she was full of flaws in a good way. Like, she felt very human. Like, even just, and this is kind of at the beginning, not super spoiler, but like, she's sick on boats and air travel. Like, every sort of travel makes her nauseous, and it's like, tough, and then wimp. And I'm like, that's fantastic. She feels so human. And so I've really loved how, after seeing all these Asians and Warrior of Light and everyone's invincible and nothing ever bad's gonna happen, like, it felt really cool to follow characters that felt more normal and felt less like gods and less like these big powerful beings, and they felt more like people that you could connect with, and kind of like more emotional and more kind of down to earth and grounded a little bit. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And I mean, she went through similar character development as Alphino has, kind of over the course of the previous arc, but because of circumstances outside of her control, she had to grow up much more quickly than he did. So her arc goes up over the course of a single expansion, whereas Alphino was kind of like, peaking right around Endwalker there. But no, you really do appreciate that she ends the game as someone very different than who she started as. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I was very happy with how all of it kind of ended, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here, because I feel like on one hand we could leave a lot of this in Dawntrail, but there are a lot of loose ends. There are a lot of like little ones, not anything that we got into super depth, but even in the final cutscenes in the main story, like, there are loose threads that they can pull at, and I'm already like mentally theory crafting, like, what's the next arc or what's the next path we're gonna take. And so like, I really enjoyed how they did that the whole way through, and they're still providing us like a complete story package in Dawntrail, but we have all these little threads we can kind of pull at as we go.
Absolutely. And as an approximation, we probably have 30-ish more MSQ quests left of the expansion coming out on the various patches. So there's still going to be kind of a lot of story to be told. Just not only, I don't think they'll be wrapping up those threads, honestly. I think they'll leave those open for further expansions, but kind of paving the way into where they're taking it next. So
absolutely. Seeing the MSQ and going through the MSQ, I had my reservations, but honestly, I'm so excited for the future. I didn't need my faith restored or like reinforced for the team. Like, I've loved everything that's come out, but it really did reinforce like how strong the writing team is right now and how like confident I feel that I will be playing this game 10 years from now plus.
Right. And Yoshi P did a good job, I think, of resetting expectations with regard to what we were to expect in Dawntrail. Like, perhaps maybe new players of the game didn't know what he was doing, but for any of us who had been playing long term, we like wiped our expectations. We were thinking, okay, if this is a Realm Reborn quality, this is good. But what we got was something, I think, parallel to what we've had the last two expansions. So I'm happy.
Absolutely. Same here. I don't think that they could have done much, if any, better after just completing a 10-year story arc. Like, I really think that they did a solid job, and it's definitely one of my favorite few expansions for sure.
Yeah, so I am looking forward to talking about it in more depth, which I think we're going to do August 5th. So a couple weeks out yet, we want to make sure people have had time to really finish the story. And then we're going to invite a special guest and we're going to really talk about the expansion and what points really hit home for us. So stay tuned for that. With regard to breaking news, bubble tea. You're drinking a bubble tea right now, aren't you?
This one is not from Gongcha, but I have made a couple trips down to Gongcha, and it has been like probably one of the more controversial collaborations I've seen. A lot of people. I'll talk about my own experience. The keychain. I went first by myself. I had to get 3 drinks. I didn't want to get more because I didn't want to be the crazy lady with like 12 drinks under my arm walking out of a mall. Took 45-minute away, and I got myself my first token, my little purple keychain. And then I went back on, so that was Wednesday or Thursday night the collab launched. By Saturday, I walked in with my husband. We were going to get the 6 drinks to get 2 items. I got the second to last keychain that they had left. This is a month plus long promotion, and this is not even my own story. A lot of people are saying day one everything was sold out. So luckily I was able to get my other keychain, which I don't have with me now, and then my Porksy King card. And kind of like I expected, I got the keychain at first because I was like, I feel like physical items are going to go first before the in-game, and I was definitely right.
Yeah.
A lot of places are wiped out of the Gongcha keychains. They're getting low in stock in the cards, and everything I've heard from the community is mixed, but mostly negative about the promotion, sadly. I've heard a lot of...
Who doesn't love bubble tea?
Well, the thing is, it's less about the bubble tea, more of there aren't... A lot of people do not have any locations within hours. Not, even like all across the world. A lot of people in EU, in America, North America, they're saying that like 5 hours from the next Gongcha restaurant. As well, you're paying, like, even for this keychain, if I were just getting the bubble tea for one of these items, that would be like $20 just for an item. And of course you get the drinks too. So if you're someone like me who's obsessed with bubble tea, it was like perfect. I got bubble tea for days. But for the people who weren't as wanting it, or only one person, like I did see that people were having issues. Someone had even traveled 3 hours to get to their closest Gongcha, and the Gongcha said too busy, no Final Fantasy 14. Like, they just stopped doing anything 14 related, and they were like up in arms. So it's been kind of crazy.
Oh wow. Yeah. No, unfortunately for me, my nearest one is like a 2-hour boat ride away. So I'm not about to do that. But I love bubble tea. Is the mount being really just a reskin of an existing one worth it for the $20 though?
I don't think so. As a content creator, I got it. Do I think it's worth it? It is literal. The only thing difference between the Porksea that's already in game versus the King Porksea mount is a crown and the color of the saddle. That is the only difference. Mount music is the same, the size is the same, the animation's the same. I've been recommending to people, if there's one conveniently near you, or you have or you love bubble tea, maybe you have a friend that can pick one up for you, possibly worth it, but $20 for a mount that's almost identical to something we have in game, probably not for a lot of people.
Now, does this just speak to how desperate North Americans are to have merchandise? Like, at least here in Canada, I can't find Final Fantasy XIV merchandise anywhere. Like, anywhere. Official merchandise. So, do you think that if they had increased availability of that sort of thing, we wouldn't be so desperate for literally anything they hand us?
It's a weird phenomena. Like, even not licensed merchandise, people go crazy for, right? Like the Etsy's, the Redbubbles, especially in the United States. I would say, I think Square Enix grossly underestimates the buying power of its player base. Like, there were even codes up and keychains online for hundreds of dollars on eBay that are being bought. That are not just like someone crazy putting the numbers out there. They're being purchased for hundreds of dollars. And so it's, I think, I think they need to reevaluate. It's kind of similar issues we had with like the North American Fan Fest, where they're like, oh, we didn't realize it was going to sell out so fast. And it's like, but did you really? People are trying to throw money at you. Like,
right.
That is just how I guess dedicated, how crazy, whatever term you want to call it, but how the fan base is like, they see something, they want it, they don't care how much money they have to throw at it a lot of times.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So that is going on until sometime in August?
Sometime in August, if supplies last, I guess.
I think the moral of the story is, if you happen to end up at one of those places and want to take advantage of it, please go ahead. But as for driving 3 to 5 hours to get one, probably not a good idea right now.
Might be a little troublesome. I would recommend, too, if you're going to go, call ahead, because you don't want to travel all this way and then be sorely disappointed. So call ahead. I know I'd even done that myself, and usually the employees that pick up are very polite, and they will tell you straight away if they have what you're looking for there.
Right. Awesome. Okay. We got patch 7.01 last Tuesday. The Arcadian job changes. New target ring for no directionals?
Yeah. So there is a new shaped ring. It kind of just looks like the boss target ring with like lines sticking up, like little dotted or dashed edges. It's to help determine if a boss has directionals or not, which I think is kind of neat. I haven't been in any content that has warranted this new kind of marking system, but it is good to, I guess, for any but melee who needs positionals. I'm like the anti-melee player, so I'm like, I'm a black mage. I can do what I want. But I'm sure for melee players, it is a good new system.
Okay, so this isn't to mark like an enemy's rear, right? Where we have the hole in the existing target ring.
No, so this is on their hitbox. It's like the circle with the arrow that kind of points that it's due north. It has a different variation, a different look to it that essentially means no positionals on this boss. I know in past normal raids, 8-man raids, we'd had certain bosses especially that were like fixed to one area of the arena that didn't move
Right.
from that area, and people knew automatically, like, okay, this is no positionals because you would fall off the map. So now there's a marker system for them that will tell you straight away if it is not positional.
Okay, awesome. The job changes, I felt I didn't want to read them in advance because I was like, no, I don't want to know what you're changing on me literally 2 weeks after the patches or after the expansion is released. But it kind of was overrated, I think. From my personal point of view, in the classes I played, there didn't really seem to be much in terms of big changes.
Yeah, I think Monk got the biggest. I haven't talked to any Monk players, but Monk definitely got buffed a bit, it looks like. And I know Monk players that I had spoken to at Dawntrail's release said that it felt broken again. So I'm hoping that Monk, with the kind of increased buffs and potencies, has helped that. But yeah, that was a lot of just enmity issues for tanks. Buffs for Monk, a lot of buffs. Viper range had increased, which I don't think many people really needed. At least the Viper mains I've talked to have been like, thanks, I guess. Not really needing it right now. Scares me about the future, but mostly just a lot of kind of small updates, I would say.
Awesome. Okay, looks like we have a couple of monks in chat. I'm sure they'll give us the down low in the comments below. So thank you for shouting yourselves out. I'm sorry, you're a monk. But that's probably just like early game bias because Monk broke my heart in A Realm Reborn and I've never trusted them since. So
I feel like that's a lot of Monk mains that has played since A Realm Reborn. Is they're like, I'm still a Monk main, but I'm not happy about it. Yeah, I love how Monk has felt in the past. However, I'm a dirty ranged player that doesn't play melee like ever unless I'm in PvP, and then I'm a Dragoon. But everything else, I'm like, get away from me. I want to stand in the back if I can.
Fair enough. Okay, and we are how many days away from Savage now?
We are 8. I can't count. It's
Final
a Monday. Dang it. The 30th. July 30th is Savage. And it is coming here faster and slower than I had ever anticipated.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are trying to get into that gear now. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of friends and kind of like other people that I follow in the community that they were starting to kind of raid prep weeks ago, and now it's like it's the final countdown. Like we have just over a week away, and everyone's getting ready to just like dash out the gates running.
Yeah. News. So you wanted to talk about world boss fates. So speaking of that, I just got my world boss fate mount the other day. There's a lot of people getting in on these right now. What is the etiquette for world bosses?
So the etiquette, and this is kind of like my 2 cents etiquette. I have no authority, obviously, in the matter, but there has been like issues since the fates have launched, since Dawntrail's launch, of people early pulling and not waiting, and just the community. Like I've seen so many people like almost rage quit certain nights because of just the lack of etiquette with these things. Yeah, Snake is up in 5 minutes, exactly. Kind of like if anybody remembers Chi from Endwalker,
yep.
30 minutes or 5 minutes or something. And so like people are really spending hours upon hours trying to spawn these fates. And my etiquette tip, if you're a tank or just someone doing it, if you see it pop, just wait. Give 5 minutes, let other people come to it. Some people have been working on it for hours and they needed a break to use the bathroom. So if you see it, just take a few minutes, let more people come in, and then attack. because yeah, I have seen people in the community get completely salty because they worked hours to get this fate to spawn, and then they leave for like a 5-minute break and they come back and it's dead, and they're like, WTF, I was here all day. So it's been a little crazy.
To be fair, the 2 times that I did the snake, there were a lot more dead us than there was dead it.
It's been wild. My first time with the snake, same thing, like dead. We almost didn't make it. And then like the next time I went, it was dead in less than 2 minutes, like almost 60 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It depends on how many people get there. So
right.
It's kind of crazy how heavy the community is really trying to get these fights cleared.
Okay. And I mean, that's just, the time is going to go down as people keep gearing up and that sort of thing. So yeah, just be polite. Just be polite. We all share the world.
Yeah. A lot of people forget too, like, you're going to get the same reward. And if somebody else gets to jump in on that, like, it probably took you the same amount of time to wait and get a lot more people to kill it fast than to not wait and take a long time to kill it and other people lose out on the chance.
So, I mean, generally, the rule of thumb is if you're in a party, which you should be, if you're going after a hunt mark or a world fate, you should be in a party. They usually have lots of party finders up. If you hit that boss once and you're in a party, you're getting full credit. You just have to hit it once. Yeah. So it's not a panic about trying to do enough damage or anything. If you're partied up, you're pretty much guaranteed that max reward. So don't even worry about it.
It's I believe too it's kind of like an enmity thing as well, where similar to like hunt trains, for instance, if you're a tank and you turn on your tank stance and you try to do kind of an enmity combo, or if you're a healer and you really try to spam some heals, that'll typically count as well. So don't panic, just kind of use some of those moves to try to get you in there, and then you should be all set.
Absolutely. Okay. La-da-da. What do we got? Hot topics. Hot topics, heart topics. Hot pockets. The Arcadian is Final Fantasy XIV's favorite 8-man raid series to date. The hype for this is real. It's everywhere. Everyone, no matter what their thoughts are on the expansion, I have not seen one negative thing. Asterisks on the Arcadian raids. Everyone universally loves them. What is the success? Like what went right this time?
I think part of it, and I'm saying this as Honeybee Lovely song has been in my head all day, so I'm just sitting here. I think a lot of it is finding that perfect balance between serious and like having some of the story undertones from the MSQ, and just kind of goofy, but in a good way. They're fun. I went through them first thing on Tuesday. That was like the first thing I did before I even started my work day. And they're just really fun. They're challenging. The music's good. Thematically, if you're gonna equate anything to like wrestling, like I know myself, I grew up on like WWE, WWF wrestling. And so having these kind of like wrestling puns, and announcer telling you, like, calling out someone when they died, like it's fun. And so I think that that's like a big part of the charisma coming into the Arcadian, is it's like, it's goofy, but also like it's gonna kick your butt and make you question all your life choices. So like it's got that nice little touch.
Yeah, it kind of feels a lot like eating hot wings. You're kind of like, yeah, I'm super pumped for this, and then you get in and you start lots of pain, and then it's addictive because yeah, I kind of got that feeling. Is this what people were talking about when they say they wanted the Warrior of Light to be more of the protagonist of the story? Like, do they want an announcer following us around? Should we have our own theme music, a red carpet? Like, what is going on?
listen, depending on how your raid night goes, you might not want the announcer following you around as it calls you out for every time you get hit by a mechanic and fall off the platform. That's never happened to me. But it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm really enjoying the raid series. I know, Debbie, this is also you dipped your toe in too, right? You were able to get your toe into the Arcadian.
Yep. Yeah, I did all 4 fights. Most of the third and fourth were from the floor. But you know, I was there. I experienced it.
Love it. Yeah, and then people are just obsessed too over the characters, over the bosses. There's a lot of simping. A lot of simping in chat and in Twitter, of course, as you can imagine. And they're fun bosses, and I think they have like a good sense of personality to each one of them. So it's been really cool, like seeing thematically where they're going with it, and then just like individually kind of having these fun little quirky bosses that we're going against.
Yeah, so I mean, it does make you want to look forward to what's next. I mean, we've got the real attractive gentleman on the thumbnail for this video in his most gracious pose, I assume. And it's
Junkrat
like, well,
2.0.
who else could we get to meet? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of love for all the ladies. Will say Honeybee Lovely is like, she blew up. The fourth boss, as I've heard her referred to as Thixion, she's getting some major love from everyone, every source that I've seen.
Yeah, I read something about Mount Wen, because apparently we can ride Ramu. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I've had to calm down I'll say boys, the men in my static sometimes when we go into 4, like, yeah, okay.
Pay attention to the fight.
Pay attention to the fight. Stop fantasizing. Oh, gosh. But
so it promises to be a really exciting raid tier. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's got a lot of... I think they kicked it up a notch where it feels like it's a little harder than Pandemonium was in certain ways. And I don't know how to describe it, but the mechanics just feel better. Like, I feel like towards Pandemonium, like 8 through 12, I kind of fizzled out of enjoying doing those raids. And this really kind of like, I don't know what it is specifically, but it really revitalized like the normal raid series, and like expecting the next Savage to be really good, because it's just, the mechanics are fast. They might be kind of reskins of what we've seen in the past, but they're played up. They're kind of like played up to be fun, and they're fun. Like, you know, they're unique. So I'm excited to see what we have to come with Savage out of this.
Yeah, I mean, Pandemonium felt like a difficult Final Fantasy XIV raid. You were constantly moving back and forth, pressing buttons. This raid, in contrast, feels like a fighting game where I wasn't so much in control as I was just mashing buttons, trying to keep on top of everything that was going on. Like, it definitely has that fighting ring energy to it. Like, there is always something happening. You don't have time to recover from what just happened. You have to be prepared for what's happening next. So good luck to all those Savage hunters out there, because this promises to maybe be brutal.
Absolutely. And like, the one thing I'll say with these fights too, it is way more mechanic forward than it is DPS forward. Like, going through, it doesn't seem like they have pretty big DPS checks, which I think is also normal for the normal version of the raids, but it feels more like personal accountability and like problem solving and kind of like puzzle solving, which I really love. Like, that to me is the best, one of the best things about raiding. I would much rather prefer less needing to know my rotation to a T and like executing it perfectly, less of that and more of, you know, thinking on the fly, more intuitive, you know, like a dance. Like, you know, we're going around the arena and we have to kind of make a dance and in order to get around the mechanics properly. And so like I'm super stoked. I'm really excited to see what Savage is going to be based on what the normals have been.
And I mean, given that they're fighting ring matches with announcers and everything, like maybe I have to take back what I said when I said watching Savage and World First won't be interesting, because I think this might just be a spectator sport this time around.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I was excited for the World First race before. I'm way more excited now. Like I kind of want to just go and commentate. Well, no matter what, just sit here and just... I grew up with, you know, I was born and watching WWE as a kid because my dad was super into it, and it's like, that's all I want to be doing is be one of the, oh no, he hit you with a steel chair, you know, just start announcing from the sidelines like a clown. Like, I'm for it.
Awesome. Okay. A couple tips of the week here for those who are in audience. We give you a little bit of knowledge to help you through your time in Eorzea. We each got one. I think that's not bad. We'll each do one. I got currency tracker. So on your heads-up display on your screen in game, you have that little symbol that's the gil symbol with your amount of accrued gil beside it. But you can make that track anything, or you can have it rotate between 5 different things as you click on the right click on the button. So if you want to track gemstones, bicolored gemstones, you want to track scripts, you want to track MGP because you're spending time in the gold saucer, you can have all of those on your screen instead. Just go into your currency menu and there's a cog in the top right corner and you can choose what those currencies are, and then right click on the screen to cycle through them. So if anyone wanted to track anything other than your dwindling bank account, you can, and that is how. Okay, that was mine.
Love it. And mine is to do with, speaking of bicolored gemstones, fates and instances. So I don't know about you, I completed last night all fates requirements, the shared fate requirements, so I could get my neon parasol, and having to track a lot of work.
Nailed it.
But one of the most difficult things is when you're in a party and you don't know what instance you're in. So there are 2 things that you can do. First is if you do / in the chat, if you do / instance, it'll boom, tell you exactly what instance you're in. So if you don't know, you can find out there. Second, if you're gonna tag or flag part of a map, or you have somebody else that is flagging part of a map and tossing it into party chat, it'll say the number right before the location. It'll show you the instance number that you're in. So if you're doing shared fate farming and say you're in instance 3 and your party leader is in instance 1, when they go and tag their map location, as they probably should, it should say 1 and then the coordinates. So 1 means you got to go to instance 1.
Awesome. Yeah, and there are still, when I was farming fates myself, there were still some people who didn't know how to swap instances. You do that from the main aetherites. So any aetherite in the zone you can click on and it will go, I think it says go to instanced area, and it will show you the list of available instances. And how many people are in there. So if you're looking for like a hunt party, go to the instance that has like 300 people in it, because that's probably where it is.
Absolutely. And to piggyback on that too, if you're in like a hunt party, especially, if it says you can't travel there because it's too full, keep trying. Usually it's just they put it through a slow funnel so that you're not going to crash the server. So sometimes just keep trying, and you usually have a good success rate. Not always 100%. Sometimes it truly is too full and you can't get in. However, if you just kind of keep going through it every a few seconds or so, you can usually get in.
Absolutely. Okay. community check. We set out a couple of polls this past week to see what people thought about which team they would have chosen to be on for Dawntrail if they weren't automatically forced to join with Wook Lamont. So I had one, for those of you who know, on my YouTube channel. It ended up with 233 votes, which is pretty decent for a YouTube poll. 44% said they would still stay with Wook Lamont. So people are genuinely happy with the way the story turned out. They wouldn't change anything. 32% would follow Aaron Vell wherever he went. So,
Knocker.
there we go. 18% would have joined with Kona instead, and 6% would have been with Bakul Janja. But we're not talking about that.
We keep saying we're not talking about it, but I think it's making its way slowly.
All right. So what about Twitter and our Discord?
Twitter and our Discord had kind of a mixed response. Majority Wookiee. I know they call her Lamati. To me, she's Wookiee. And then Twitter, I believe, majority was Kona.
Wow.
So a little bit of mixed reactions. I think ultimately, Wook Lamont, if we tallied up all of the things, would be there. I know for myself, I think I'm in that category too. I fell in love with her. She's such a cheesy goon, and I really loved her personality. So I'm team Wookiee.
Awesome. Okay, so what are we gonna ask this week? I want to see if people have an Arcadian glam. I want to see if people have glammed up their characters for the Arcadian. Do you think we could ask people to post on Discord their glams?
Absolutely. I know my husband's already done it. Mostly to make our raid lead mad. Because we were making way too many bee puns the other day.
Oh, wow. No, I think a lot of people, that's the first thing they think of is, okay, I've got to get in character for this.
Yeah.
Like...
No, I think that's a really good, and everyone approaches it differently too. I've seen people in the past do kind of like raid themes for like the entire raid series or for specific boss. So I think that would be really good to see what people come up with for
awesome. All right, so it can be posted to Discord or we can be tagged on Twitch. Yeah. Let us see. I need some ideas.
Yeah, we need Savage is in like just over a week. I need to steal I mean borrow, be inspired for ideas.
Okay. And what are we not talking about this week? So, Final Fantasy XIV drama time. You kind of know these things are happening when every single creator on YouTube has made a video about it. It's all over Twitter. Whenever I see this happen, whenever I see all the popular creators make a video on the same topic, I know this is coming. And this week, it is about the difficulty of Dawntrail. So you are our ear to the ground on this one. What started this?
So there was, and this is from my memory, so don't quote me on this. It is out there. If you Google it, you will find it. There was a forum post on the Final Fantasy XIV forums regarding somebody who thought, TLDR, they thought that the difficulty level for Dawntrail required content was too high, and in their opinion, they think that they cannot play the game anymore. I know it has a lot more to that, so that's a very vague remembrance of what exactly was posted, but there was a lot of backlash from the community just in... Are the raids and just general content in the game really that difficult? Are we stepping into kind of like an elitist zone where things are too hard? Is this person overreacting? So there was just kind of a large blend of opinions that were put in there, some positive, some negative, some kind of all in between. But I think the forum is up to like over 150 pages now of comments, and it's wild.
So with everyone chiming in and every creator and their dog creating a video on this, we probably don't have any opinions that haven't already been said, but what are your last thoughts on this before we put it to bed?
My last thoughts on this, before we put it to bed, one of them, just things in the game are going to increasingly get difficult as we go on. We're in level 100 now, so things are going to not be as easy as level 70 stuff was, potentially. Another big thing that I think a lot of people should keep in mind, and I say this stuff all the time, we are meant to fail. As human beings, as players of this game, we're gonna fail, and that's okay. We're going to wipe in content, all types of content. We're going to fall flat on our face. We're going to cause wipes. We're going to, have things that are going to be challenging. Yeah, cause wipes a lot sometimes. We're going to forget to heal the tank. But that's okay. Like, that, I think, is part of the experience. And I'm someone who does hard content, but I really do enjoy normal level content too, MSQ dungeons, and I like how things, even at their base, can be challenging. I think it betters me as a player, it betters me as a person, and it adds fun to my content. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, and I was trying to wrap my head around this too, and it seems to me that the perceived difficulty of the game has ebbed and flowed over the past 10 years, and I think content was this difficult up until Shadowbringers and Endwalker, where Yoshi P himself admitted that things kind of dipped a little bit, and he was going to fix that. So if you're having difficulty with the content, just keep trying. We've got 2.5 years of this expansion at least. So as people's item levels increase, they will become easier to do. And if you are struggling with duty support, if you are intimidated or anxious to go into Duty Finder, there's always Party Finder. If you put up a Party Finder and say, look, I'm an anxious player, I'm trying to get through my MSQ, can you please help me clear this duty? Guaranteed you're going to get 3 amazing people who are going to help you through it. The game is an MMO, and if the way to clear the content is to play with other people, then I can't really say that's a flaw of the game. Now, it would be a different conversation if we were talking about solo instances, which I think in this expansion have actually become easier than they were in Endwalker and Dawntrail, or in Endwalker and Shadowbringers. Some of the Shadowbringers ones, Endwalker ones, were really difficult, I think. So as long as it's not those solo instances that will hard block you from completing the story, we just need to help each other out. As hard as it is, in some way you do have to reach out for help. We're ASM. That's what we do. We call on friends. So whether they're free company friends, whether they're Party Finder friends, that's kind of what we gotta need to. That's kind of what we're going to have to do to get through it. Wow. Okay, those are my final words on this subject. I haven't heard anyone else speak, so I am pretty sure that my word is definitive, and it has probably all been said before. So we are going to put it to bed, and we are not talking about this anymore until the next patch, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Upcoming important dates. Online store maintenance today? What?
So. It looks like, and I missed this promotion until today. So the Final Fantasy 14, aka actually the Square Enix store, has free shipping on certain items, and it ends tonight at midnight. So keep an eye out for that if you are someone who wants to buy things. the store maintenance is having an update too, which is kind of funny because now that I'm looking at this on paper, the store maintenance is, for whatever reason, is having maintenance 9:30 p.m. to... Oh, okay, so that'd be like after the free thing. Okay, I'm mixing Pacific time and Eastern time.
Okay.
In my head. Oh, wait, no, it is happening in Pacific Standard Time. I don't know, Square's being weird. So they're doing store maintenance, it looks like, right before the free shipping ends, which don't know why, but if you are someone who is looking to buy something on the Square Enix store, don't sit on it because you might get caught in a maintenance patch, and tonight is the last night for free shipping.
Okay. No, as a Canadian, I am used to ordering from a store like the Square Enix store and paying probably more than the cost of the item I'm buying and shipping. Like sometimes it is absolutely ridiculous and I'm paying like $40 shipping on a $12 item. So if you find yourself in a similar position, this might be something that could give you the chance to make a purchase. And not feel like you're being bad word here. Yeah, so definitely take advantage of that probably today because we don't know if it's coming back or when.
And unless it changed since I checked last night or the night before, if you did not purchase the Dawntrail physical collector's edition box and you're like, I wish I would have, you can get that still. I believe it's still up on their site. So if you are in love with Dawntrail, you did it, maybe you have some extra money and you'd like to consider the statue and other items in the kit, maybe it's a good time to do that now.
A good idea. We're not used to them having the physical collector's edition this late into an expansion. Like usually it's well sold out by now.
Yeah, I'm like in that same boat where I'm like, do I? I've never bought a physical one before, and I'm like, do I? So we'll see what the next couple hours holds of me toying around with the idea of buying it or not.
Awesome. Okay, so that is everything for today. What are you going to be up to over this next week? Where can people find you?
You guys can find me. Debbie will have all the links below in post. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Discord, I'm everywhere. Instagram, I don't even know where else, but I'm everywhere. This week I am working on, the major thing I'm working on is a kind of beginner's guide for Savage. So I have Savage raided for many years now, and I do not claim to be an expert by any means. However, I have done it for such a long time, and I see a lot of people want to try Savage for the first time because of Arcadian. And so I'm going to come out with a video to help explain some kind of tips and tricks to get started.
Awesome. Okay. And on top of my full streaming schedule, I will be trying to get some YouTube videos out this week. I got a secret one. There's going to be a video on the art of commendation. We're going to talk about commends. I don't think I've seen anyone else do this yet. So I'm looking forward to that one, and maybe a little something on how to dye things. But yeah, that's my week that I've got planned. Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Love it. I don't think so. I think it's a very exciting time. We still have another week before Savage, so you know everybody's kind of just getting through the normal content. And yeah, we'll have some fun in the upcoming week. I'm excited to see your videos coming out. I know I need help all the time with dyes, especially and glam. So teach me your tricks.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you for being here, Pyra. We will be back next week, same time, same channel, with more of the Final Fantasy XIV news and community updates. Yeah.
Join our socials.
Our socials and all links will be in the description below. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Love yourself as much as you love others, and we'll see you in game. Bye.
Bye.